finally score, we're going to the playoffs.
I can't believe I missed that.
Every time I'm buzzed, I spend too much time on my phone.
I should take your phone away.
No. I'll call for a ride. Wait, why does my face look like that?
When I was growing up, my mom was extremely tidy. We were trained to put things back where we got them from. One day, when I walked into my mom's house, I felt like I walked to someone else's house. There was stuff everywhere. And just growing up the way I grew up and to see this transition was very alarming.
When Sean talked to me, it was a wake-up call, and that's when I went to the doctor.
Put the keys down, Kevin.
But I'm gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
I've taken 25 selfies in the last 10 minutes.
26.
Yep, I'm definitely gonna call a ride home.
And welcome back to Sports Night in Auburn.
Favorite TV show that they just absolutely adore. Now, imagine that show you're thinking of drops the biggest twist that the entertainment world has ever seen, and then the next day they release a surprise episode that drops another twist. That's pretty much what it felt like to be an Auburn fan this week. Welcome back to Sports Night in Auburn. Joined by Kitty Diamond at the desk, my name is Brooks Crew. The Tigers have found themselves all over the headlines over the past couple of days, just maybe not in the ways they'd want to be. First came the controversial Oklahoma game, in which the Tigers found themselves with the short end of the proverbial refereeing stick, but that paled in comparison to what has become perhaps the biggest news in Auburn basketball history. Isn't that right, Kitty?
No kidding, Brooks. Bruce Pearl shocked the world yesterday when he announced his surprise retirement. After 11 years with the Tigers, the legendary Auburn coach led the Tigers to 2 Final Four appearances, 5 SEC championships, and 6 NCAA tournaments appearances, all while sending countless talented athletes to the pros. We're certainly going to miss him around here. Pearl led the Tigers to what was undoubtedly their best season ever just last year, including an incredible 32-6 record, a Final Four appearance, a tournament win over Memphis in the Maui Invitational, all while sending Jonai Broome, Denver Jones, Miles Kelly, Chani Johnson, and Dylan Cardwell to the pros. Auburn fans were expecting another few years out of Bruce, especially after such an incredible season, but Pearl had other plans as the Tigers released his farewell address on social media Monday afternoon.
And let me just say, that farewell address, don't watch it in public. I made the mistake of watching it in my public speaking class this week, and my teacher had to stop class to ask me what I was crying for. The team's undoubtedly in good hands, even in his absence, though.
That's right. Auburn basketball is clearly a family affair for the Pearls, as Auburn announced that Bruce's son, Stephen Pearl, would be taking the reins of the Auburn basketball team, signing him to a 5-year contract. The notoriously defensive-minded Stephen will certainly have big shoes to fill, but if anyone can step out of a Pearl's shadow, it's another Pearl. And honestly, I can't think of anyone who'd be a better fit.
Now, wipe your tears, Auburn fans, because a new week is upon us with plenty of Auburn athletics to cover. When we come back, Eagle Eye insider Micah Farmer will join me in the studio to discuss what all of this means and let you in on why we're going to be holding our breath for the next 30 days. Stick with us.
My mother was always very familiar with her neighborhood, but one day she stopped at the stop sign for much longer than usual, and she didn't know whether she should go forward or turn, and she wasn't even really sure where she was at. It was very unsettling for her.
I felt so much better after my son told me, "Mom, I don't want you to worry or be afraid. I'll be there for you, and we'll figure it out."
I'll be right back. Hi. You think you're probably sober?
Yeah.
But you're thinking about taking the back roads home, just in case. If you're probably sober, then why would you do that? Good choice.
Probably okay isn't okay. If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
That's a full glass of wine. I'll be chatting you later.
Bye-bye.
Hi. Hoping for a crisp breeze to help keep you alert. Oh, he took a sip of water too. That'll probably help. You were probably gonna turn down the radio too, so you could focus, right?
Probably okay isn't okay.
Right.
If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
I think the water line is what really drove it home. I blew on him.
Welcome back to Sports Night in Auburn. We've certainly got a lot to cover tonight, from Bruce Pearl's retirement to Auburn's loss at Oklahoma and more. And who better to talk a little ball with than Eagle Eye insider and resident sports encyclopedia, Micah Farmer. Micah, what a week it's been to be an Auburn fan. What do you make of this whole Auburn basketball coaching situation?
Well, Brooks, what stands out to me immediately is Auburn clearly had a plan with this. Stephen Pearl steps in immediately after Bruce retires, immediate 5-year contract extension. Auburn knows what they're doing here, and I know a lot of the Auburn family expected this to happen after the season. Maybe this be Bruce's last full year with the program, but stepping away now preseason, I think you're still okay. Stephen, like you guys mentioned earlier, is a very good defensive mind. Auburn has been in the top 10 in defense in 3 of the last 4 seasons, one of just 4 programs in the country that can say that. So you know he has a good mind for coaching. And then as far as recruiting goes, a lot of this assistant coaching staff is still here. So that continuity, I think, is definitely going to help. You have good relationships with players already. People are still going to want to come to Auburn. It's a great program right now. So I think you'll be fine on that front too. And then as for the portal window, that opens anytime a coaching change happens. So there's a 30-day window now where Auburn players can hop in the portal. So do you need to panic about that? In my opinion, no. There's a lot of rosters that are already set. The majority of college basketball rosters are set by this point, and the only place that could really accept a ton of players, or even some good players at this point, is Wofford, who just had their own thing go down with some crazy fines that they had for some weird infringements that they made a couple weeks ago. But I don't think the Auburn basketball team is looking to jump ship to Wofford, in my opinion. So I think you're going to be just fine with the portal window. Everyone's going to stick around. And then as for Stephen Pearl, I think he has been training to do this role for a while. We knew this was a planned succession. I think Auburn basketball is going to be just fine.
Yeah, so that was the biggest news of this week, but we got to look back to last week as well. That Oklahoma game, man, that was a roller coaster, wasn't it? Sooners found a way to prevail 24-17. Micah, what stood out to you about how the Tigers played in Norman?
Well, Brooks, I love the defense in this one. This was a tenacious defense on that side of the ball. Secondary going crazy. The Oklahoma run game could not get anything going, especially between the tackles. Their leading rusher was John Mateer, and then apparently Mateer, playing through a hand injury for the back part of this game, did have to get surgery. But still, to keep a player as good as he is in check for most of this game, only allow a couple touchdowns to Oklahoma, one of which we've already mentioned. There was some stuff going on with that one, which we'll touch on a little bit more in a moment. But still, defense overall, great versus the pass. That was the main concern after the Baylor game, and I think that's more really about just how good Sawyer Robertson is and that Baylor offense. But still, very impressed by the Auburn defense. If you can keep that up on the road in the SEC, you're going to win games this year.
Micah, you mentioned it. We got to address the elephant in the room for that Oklahoma game, the officiating. The SEC put out an official statement saying that the referees had made a mistake that allowed the Sooners what was essentially a free touchdown, but Auburn fans weren't exactly happy with the SEC's consolation. What do you make of it, Micah?
Well, Brooks, I think the issue here is anytime a refereeing crew messes up enough to where the SEC itself is releasing a statement, something big has gone wrong. And according to multiple SEC coaches, there was a lot of talk in the offseason about this hideout play that Oklahoma ran, concealing a receiver as a potential leaving substitution and then letting them run to the end zone. And that was supposed to be a crackdown this year, something that you were not allowed to do. Oklahoma apparently practiced this play, so they were planning on doing it anyway, which opens up a whole nother can of worms about practicing illegal plays. But regardless, the fact that a statement had to be made about this, I think, is a big issue. Although, Brooks, I think you would agree that was not the sole reason Auburn lost this game.
No, and I mean, one of the biggest reasons, I think it was at least, was the fact that Jackson Arnold went down 10 times. That's 10 sacks. You talk about a game-breaking factor for Hugh Freeze and company. I mean, what do you think the Tigers need to change to make sure that doesn't happen again?
Well, I think it's two things, Brooks. First off, it's get your tackles a bit more disciplined, try to adjust to counter moves from edge rushers, and then really pick up on stunts in the middle of the offensive line. There were huge issues picking up Oklahoma twists and stunts when they would rush the passer in that fashion. The offensive line really struggled to handle it, and you're playing a team next week in A&M that has some athletic guys off the edge and in the middle of the D-line, so need to fix that. And then make Jackson Arnold quit doing his best tree impression back there. The guy is standing dead still a lot of the time. Get him moving around. You know his legs are incredibly good. We saw it versus Baylor. When he takes off, he can make things happen. So don't feel like you have to contain him in the pocket and turn him into a pocket passer. Let him know that he can use his legs. He can be more aggressive with his arm. Try to really make the defense pay for letting him have that time. Take off, use his legs, make things happen. And that was something that Coach Freeze mentioned in his press conference this week, and also talked about the difference in maybe the sacks that are on Jackson Arnold and the sacks that are on the offensive line. So I'll let you guys take a listen to that.
Had a chance to win the football game, and again, there's a lot of things we certainly can improve upon, but dang, it was fun to watch them compete. We're really closer, and you know, we'll get tested again, certainly with an excellent top 10 team on the road again at A&M, but disappointing and stings, but we got to put it behind us and move on to A&M for sure.
You know, Micah, a wise turtle once said that yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, but today is a gift. That's why we call it the present. Hugh Freeze, who's perhaps as equally wise, though not a turtle, at least as far as we know, was clear. It's time to move on and focus on today's training for the A&M Aggies. Micah, what and who do you think the Tigers need to be focusing on over in College Station?
Well, Brooks, I mentioned the discipline on the offensive line. Get the stunts figured out. Train on that all weekend. Make sure you know who's picking up who in those scenarios. As far as players, this A&M team has some headliners. The first big one is the quarterback, Marcel Reed. This guy is an elite athlete, can move around, can make throws on the run, can make a lot of NFL caliber throws. The main thing that Marcel Reed struggles with is sometimes under pressure, he'll run around a bit like a headless chicken and then give you a gift, make a dumb mistake. So if you're Auburn, get the edge rushers to pin their ears back. Try to contain him in the pocket while still getting that pressure to him. Make him make those split-second decisions to see if he gives you a gift. Next up for A&M, Cassius Howell off the edge. This dude is just a freak. He has 3 sacks on the season, but they all came on the same set of downs. It was against Utah State in week 2, and he got a sack on first down. Then he got a sack on second down. And then he got a sack on third down and said, I have decided you will be punting now. And a guy like that off the edge is really a lot to deal with, especially with the struggles the 2 Auburn tackles had in Norman. You need to get them figured out, and then if Howell stunts inside, you're going to have a big problem because he is so twitchy, he can blow by some interior offensive linemen. Then finally, back in the secondary, Will Lee III. This guy's just a feisty corner. I'm not going to lie, I love watching Will Lee play. He's an incredibly talented player. He can take away half a field or a single receiver, whatever you want him to do, and I think if you're Auburn, the plan is attack wherever Will Lee isn't. And the Auburn receivers, Cam Coleman, I think it's beat Will Lee with your size. He has a huge size advantage. For Eric Singleton, beat Will Lee with your release package. Try to expose him off the line, get instant separation, beat him that way. But whoever it is, I think it's smarter to attack the side that Will Lee is not on, and you definitely have the receivers to do it. Also, use your running game to take pressure off Jackson Arnold, give more carries to the running back, see what they can do. Then also 2 honorable mentions for A&M receiver Casey Concepcion and running back Le'Veon Moss. They are both freak talents on the offensive line that will be a huge threat. So a lot of guys to look out for this weekend in College Station.
Yeah, definitely going to be a very interesting game. And believe it or not, the Tigers found themselves subject to yet another major headline this week. It's been a busy one for the journalists for sure. Wednesday, the SEC unveiled its new initiative deciding permanent opponents for each SEC team, or at least permanent in the sense of the next 5 years. The Tigers' opponents, Alabama, Georgia, and Vanderbilt. Micah, do you like these choices, or do you think the Tigers should be playing some teams like, I don't know, LSU?
I'm actually okay with the choices. I think you're very lucky, considering what happened to other rivalries in the conference, to keep the Iron Bowl, to keep the Deep South's oldest rivalry. That is huge. Georgia, Alabama aren't going anywhere. You're going to see them every year. I think that's great for the SEC, great for college football. And honestly, I'm not complaining about Vandy either, because outside of the Diego Pavia year, I think Auburn's been fairly good against Vandy. That's a team that you want to see a lot of times on the schedule. And I do have a lot of faith in Clark Lee as a coach over there for Vandy, but still, I think you look at everyone in the SEC, you're more than happy to draw Vandy. You mentioned LSU. I think they kind of got shafted. They lose the Alabama game. They lose the Auburn game. They lose the Florida rivalry. Florida loses their Tennessee rivalry. So a lot of stuff to adjust for. I think it's honestly hard to try to get all these protected opponents set up right and still have the skill of the conference set equally to where the big teams aren't just only playing the big teams and the smaller teams are playing the smaller teams. So all things considered, I think the SEC did a fairly good job, and I'm happy with Auburn's protected opponents.
Well, it's always a pleasure to have you, Micah, and that's all the time we have for this segment, but don't go anywhere. When we return, myself and Eagle Eye reporter Cohen Dalzell will dive into all things Auburn men's sports and Eagle Eye's Men's Minute. Stick with us.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly.
Lights out.
Good night. And put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
I was living in a shelter juggling 3 jobs. I had to be resilient. That's something that you can't teach.
You can achieve a lot using your imagination. I mean, I don't like to brag, but... Wait, who's that? And why is she all over these achievement awards? But with STEM, the sky's the limit. Shaboom! Use STEM to envision. Okay, I'm seeing it. Yeah. Invent.
Got any ideas?
I've got a few, actually. And create a better world. Told you she's super smart. If she can STEM, so can you. Find out more at She Can STEM.
Welcome back to Sports Night in Auburn. Though Bruce Pearl and Auburn football dominated the headlines this week, there were still plenty of men's sports that found themselves to be quite newsworthy. Up now is Cohen Dalzell, who's got all the intel on the ever-dominant Auburn men's golf squad, who found themselves in a familiar spot this week. Cohen?
Well, Brooks, the Auburn men's golf team is no stranger to the top 5, placing second at their last tournament. They jumped up in the rankings and are now number 1 in the country. They're the only team to be in the top 5 since October of 2023. That is 102 weeks at the top of the collegiate golf field. Auburn men's golf is finally back in action next Monday and Tuesday, September 29th and 30th as they head to Fort Worth, Texas and Colonial Country Club for the Ben Hogan Collegiate Invitational presented by Charles Schwab. Junior Josiah Gilbert is coming off his second career individual collegiate victory at the Invitational at the Honors Course. He will have help this weekend from the number 1 amateur in the world, Jackson Coyven. The fellow junior will be back with the Tigers after a 4th place finish in the Procore Championship PGA event and a Walker Cup victory. He has more on his decision to stay and play another year at the collegiate level.
And I'm happy to be here, and I wasn't ready to turn pro after my sophomore year, and it made so much sense for me to stay after my sophomore year. There's always room for improvement. Particularly right now, it's just mental game, just figuring out how to keep shooting good scores and just fixing little things here and there, but just figuring out how I can be the most consistent person out there.
Auburn Tigers always seem to find their way to the pros, and the Tigers baseball stars are clearly no exception. Notable Auburn baseball players who tore it up in the pros include Josh Donaldson, Bo Jackson, and soon, Chris Rembert may join that list. Rembert's played just 1 season with the Tigers, but the accolades seem to absolutely just rain down on him. He earned himself all SEC honors, was a first-team freshman All-American, and now he's got another title to add to his resume. He's in the top 25 in the 2026 MLB draft. In fact, he's 16th in the country. Rembert will almost surely find himself within an MLB organization within the next year or so, provided he's able to keep his momentum throughout his next and possibly final year with the Tigers. Swings seem to be the story of the men's minute, from golf swings then to baseball swings, and now Cohen's going to break down some Auburn men's tennis.
Yeah, Brooks, I got some tennis swings for you as well, as Auburn men's tennis is in action this week at the ITA All-American Championships in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Nicholas Hang, Joey Phillips, Freddie Blades, and Billy Blades are the four who qualified for the tournament. In singles, Phillips, as well as Freddie and Billy Blades, all lost their first-round matches. Hang, on the other hand, made it to the third round before falling to Evan Burnett of Texas. Billy Blades will participate in the consolation bracket. In the doubles bracket, Phillips and Hang won their first match, but couldn't make it past Michael Andre and Sam Landau of Indiana, who ended their doubles run 7-6, 6-3. Auburn men's tennis is back home October 3rd through 5th as they host the Battle on the Plains at the Yarborough Tennis Center. The matches are an all-day event. Back at the desk, Brooks has some trivia to remind you of just how dominant Auburn men's golf is.
Thank you, Cohen. Before we head to break, got a quick trivia question for you, as Cohen referenced. Jackson Koiven is the first amateur with 3 straight top 10s since what year? Is it A, 1978, B, 1956, C, 1976, or D, 2005? We'll have the answer in Eagle Eye's Women's Watch, where Kitty and Cohen will dive into some Auburn women's sports when we come back.
My parents weren't fluent in English, so in school I had to be independent and take initiative, and that's how I handle every project I get.
Hey Kevin, you thinking about retirement?
I'd love to, but I'm pretty busy with all this.
Yeah, hey, let's meet our retirement coach, Avo. A is for taking action.
Not anxiety?
No, Kevin, you're gonna be fine.
You sing?
Barely. V is for variety.
And you dance?
Sort of. Come on. O is for optimize your savings.
Let Avo lead the way.
Visit aceyourretirement.org today.
Nice.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
When we left, Brooks asked you our first trivia question of the day. Jackson Koiven is the first amateur with 3 straight top 10s since what year? A, 1978, B, 1956, C, 1976, or D, 2005? The correct answer is letter B. We are so glad that he is staying right here in the Plains outside of men's golf. There has been plenty of women's action, and Cohen has the scoop.
Auburn women's soccer played their home SEC opener last Thursday night at the Auburn Soccer Complex, hosting Texas A&M. I was on scene for the match, so I'll take you through Auburn's first conference win of the season.
After a 1-1 draw in Oxford to open up SEC play, Auburn came home to the Auburn Soccer Complex to host Texas A&M under the lights. It was Texas A&M that threatened early, but as the sun went down and the lights turned on, so did the Auburn offense. The Tigers racked up 12 shots and 4 corners in the first half, but every time Auburn looked to be primed to break the deadlock, an Aggie defender came to clear the danger. The first half of Auburn's home SEC opener ended 0-0. Auburn continued its attack to start the second frame, getting balls in the box and shots on goal. This ended up being the recipe for Coach James Armstrong's side, as Aaron Fleury's cross found the head of Olivia Woodson, who shook the net and opened the scoring, much to the delight of her teammates and the fans at the Auburn Soccer Complex. The Aggies tried their best to strike back late, but Auburn's defense wasn't having it, holding on to the clean sheet and earning their first victory in SEC play. Auburn takes to the road Sunday night as they head to Starkville, Mississippi to take on the number 12 Mississippi State Bulldogs. I'm Cohen Dalzell for Eagle Eye TV.
After earning their first win in SEC play, Auburn took to the road as the Lady Tigers traveled to Starkville, Mississippi to take on the 12th-ranked Bulldogs of Mississippi State. Auburn held their own in the game, striking first and taking the lead in the 56th minute as Olivia Woodson struck again after some chaotic play in the box. The Bulldogs failed to get the ball out, and Woodson struck it with her right foot just past the keeper. She has 4 goals on the season so far, 2 of which came in the last 2 games. Auburn defended the lead ferociously with over 30 minutes passing until Mississippi State was able to equalize with 3 minutes left to play. The team split the points, drawing 1-1. The points from the draw was the first Auburn has had against a ranked conference opponent since 2021, when Auburn drew against number 13, Ole Miss, 2-2. After going toe-to-toe with some of the conference's best, Auburn comes back to the Plains this week, Thursday night, as the LSU Tigers come to town for a Tiger Showdown. Kickoff is set for 6 p.m. at the Auburn Soccer Complex. Switching gears to a squad who knows a thing or two about an in-state rivalry after this week, the Auburn volleyball team took on 3 in-state opponents in Birmingham for the Alabama Showdown. Auburn took all 3 matches in the showdown, starting off with hosts UAB Thursday night. The Tigers swept the Blazers in straight sets, holding the UAB squad to just .149 in hitting percentage over the 3 sets. Freshman Bailey Carlison made her Auburn and collegiate debut in the match, but only got in the box score with a service error. Match number 2 of the showdown Friday had Auburn and Samford square off, with the Tigers taking down the Bulldogs 3-1, winning 3 straight sets after Samford took the first. The Tigers once again showed their dual threat prowess, holding Samford to .129 hitting percentage while hitting .400 themselves. The big 3 of Dreves, Markovska, and Belle Zimmerman dominated the match, with the 3 of them notching 39 combined kills. Auburn finished off the Alabama Showdown with South Alabama on Saturday. The Tigers took the match in 4 sets, 3-1, despite struggling with keeping their attacks in play. The team split the first 2 sets before Auburn was able to clean up the final 2 and earn their 9th win of the season heading into SEC play. In addition to all of that, they added several honors and career records. Kate Mansfield was named the SEC Co-Defensive Player of the Week, and she notched 100 career blocks. Liz Markovska also reached her 1,000th career point, and Chanel Pitts also earned her 1,000th career assist during the week. The victory secured the 3-match sweep over in-state foes during the tournament and gave Auburn good momentum heading into conference play. Speaking of conference play, Auburn's SEC opener is on the Plains this Friday, September 26th, and it is a biggie. Auburn hosts Alabama in the Iron Bowl of volleyball during Glow Hard or Go Home night at Neville Arena. First serve for the match is set for 6 p.m. The Tigers also host Mississippi State with first serve at 2 p.m. Sunday, September 28th for the Women in Sports Appreciation match. I'm going to take us to an update from a different court now, because the women's tennis team is about to begin action. Both DJ Bennett and Ashton Bowers will travel to Cary, North Carolina for the ITA All-American Championships. Part of this trek is a competition for bids to the NCAA Singles and Doubles Championships. They will have to be in the top 10 for singles and the top 4 for doubles to qualify for a bid. Bennett made the cut last year in singles after reaching the quarterfinals. As a top-ranked singles player in the nation, she will look to defend that title. The pair of Bennett and Bowers are also a ranked team as ranked number 3 as a doubles pair. This tournament will take place starting tomorrow and run until Sunday. That's all I have for the Women's Watch, and Kitty has more for you at the desk. I hear she's going to tell you about a team that just claimed a title.
Their season quite yet, women's golf sure has. Just today, the team claimed a win at the Canadian Collegiate Invitational. It was an impressive 2-day show by the Lady Tigers with some impressive highlights from Balma Davalos and Anne Fernandez. In Ontario, weather proved to be a factor in the tournament for the Tigers. In round one, they had a rocky start before the weather put the tournament on pause. After the break, the Tigers turned things around and shot 4 under as a team, coming behind a Kent State squad that shot 7 under. The tournament was moved to two rounds after the delay, and today Auburn shot an impressive 12 under as a team. This is their first win of the season, and Balma Davalos placed second. The Tigers look ahead to October 6th, where they will play at the Illini Women's National in Medina. Before we go back to break, we have one more trivia question for you. Coming from golf this time, what 2 places are the Auburn women's golf team traveling to for the first time? A, North Carolina and New York, B, Hawaii and Georgia, C, Canada and Hawaii, or D, New Mexico and Arizona? Brooks has the answer for you when we welcome you back, and you'll get a look at what's been trending this week in our final segment, Trending Tigers.
Yeah! Sam, Elmo!
Oh, hey, Julia! Are you ready to play band with us? I'm gonna play my clarinet.
And Elmo's gonna play his drum. Drum loud.
Oh, well, you know what to do, Julia.
Julia knows.
With Julia's autism, loud sounds can be too much.
But she still loves to make music. Play band.
Early screening for autism can make a lifetime of difference. Find out more at screenforautism.org.
Put the keys down, Kevin.
But I'm gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
My text to emoji ratio has gotten a little out of hand.
A little?
Yep, I'm definitely gonna call a ride home.
Yo, Scott.
Hey.
I'm heading out, man. You want to ride?
No, I got my car back. I actually really need to go to the bathroom.
Oh, you know what? I was just in there. The line is like 10 people long.
You know, I think I'll just...
Dude, are you okay?
You wouldn't believe what I was just thinking. I am definitely buzzed.
Yeah.
I think I will take this, and I will take that ride home.
Smart man.
Did you see how that dog was looking at me?
Before we left, Kitty promised you an answer for some women's golf trivia. The question was, which 2 places are the Auburn women's golf team traveling to this year for the first time? Was it A, North Carolina and New York, B, Hawaii and Georgia, C, Canada and Hawaii, or D, New Mexico and Arizona? The answer, letter C, Canada and Hawaii. Not really sure they could have found more contrasting places, but best of luck to the women's golf squad.
What a story. The Tigers have gone worldwide, and Pitbull would be proud. For track and field, Auburn's own Maka Karaba represented Zimbabwe in Tokyo, finishing second in the prelims to advance to the semifinals with a time of 20.06. Then he finished 9th in the world with a time of 20.03, just 5/100ths away from a finals spot. Great work, Maka. We're proud of you.
Maka Charamba, which, if there's a more fun name to say, I have not heard it, was not the only Tiger competing in Tokyo. Sine Barnes, the 6-time All-American, finished 25th overall for Team USA in the high jump, clearing 1.83 meters. For reference, that's almost exactly how tall I am. Absolutely insane.
Many Tigers made their names known worldwide this week, but headlines back home stayed, well, a little closer to home. That's right, folks. It's time for Trending Tigers, where we dive into all the most viewed topics in Auburn this week.
We're going to start things off with Sharif Cooper, an Auburn basketball legend who was absolutely electric in his years at Auburn, but career took a bit of a decline as he tried to make the transition to the pros. Thankfully, after a bit of a hiatus, they announced this past week that the Washington Wizards had signed him. So we're hoping for all the best for Sharif and all the best for the Wizards moving forward.
Moving on, it's my favorite thing to talk about. If you're thinking sports, you thought wrong. It's outfits. Auburn's new basketball jerseys were just released with a crisp new Nike design. These beautiful jerseys feature everything and more, including dual striped collars and northwestern stripes down the side of the jerseys and shorts. Pretty sharp if you ask me.
Then we have an Auburn Tiger who just made absolute waves in the last NFL game he played. It's Jamel Dean. Made a pick 6 against the Jets, which propelled the Bucs to a 2-point win. So safe to say that Dean was the difference in that game.
Moving on to maybe my second favorite thing to talk about, it's country music. If you've been within 5 feet of any girl on this campus recently, you already know that Parker McCollum is coming to town. That's right, McCollum will be making an appearance on the Plains this coming February 13th. I'm going to help any of the boyfriends watching right now and remind you all that this is just the day before Valentine's Day. You all know what to do. Neville Arena, Friday the 13th. It may just get spooky. On that note, that's all the time we have for today. For more Sports Night in Auburn and Eagle Eye Sports, follow our Instagram and Twitter pages. Make sure to subscribe right here on YouTube and tune in every single week. My name is Kitty Diamond.
And for all of us here in the Eagle Eye studio, Cohen and Micah and everyone behind the camera, our producer is Sophia Weber. I'm Brooks Crew. This has been Sports Night in Auburn. Good night and War Eagle.
We scored? Yeah, we scored. We're going to the playoffs. I can't believe I missed that. Every time I'm buzzed, I spend too much time on my phone. I should take your phone away.